Welcome back to A People's Guide to Publishing. I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing and Distribution. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 25 years.
I'm Ellie Blue. I'm the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm. We are an independent mid-list publisher based in Portland, Oregon. We have 14 employees, over 650 titles in print with 20 to 40 new books per year, and we distribute thousands of titles from other publishers.
We started this podcast so that we can share what we've learned with newer publishers so that you can learn from our mistakes.
Or maybe you just want to understand the publishing industry.
This week, we answer a reader question, which is, what should I write about?
Oh, that is kind of the million-dollar question. Because you can sit there and write all day.
Yeah. And you could think of writing in terms of leverage, as in like what you're getting out of it, or you could think of writing as in like, you're like having revelations, or you could think of writing as in you're just enjoying yourself. So it's partly,
Right.
Well, what you want to get out of it.
What's your goal?
Yeah.
Shall we assume for these purposes that people want to write a book since they're asking us?
Yeah.
Like if you want to write in your journal, you should write in your journal.
Yeah, I think they do want to write a book, yes.
Okay. What should you write your book about?
Or maybe more than one book. In this case.
Yeah.
Not everybody has, most people seemingly just have the ambition of someday I'm going to write a book.
Do you think your, 25 things rule applies here?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that could be a good one.
I think this rule was misattributed to Warren Buffett, but it's been a little bit on the internet lately.
A lot lately. The rule is basically that you make a list of your top 25 ideas, and then you cross out the bottom 20. Like you basically say which 5 of these are the most important and which 20 are just going to distract from those 5. And the reason for that is basically, well, as anybody who is a writer knows, it's very easy to become the world's most prolific dog walker and dish doer if you are a writer, because any distraction from writing is very welcome.
Yeah, you could have the cleanest house. It's true. So you want something that you're really passionate about and really care about.
So if your goal is to have the cleanest house or no dirty dishes, it doesn't really matter what you write about because you'll just focus on that anyway. But
unless you want to write about having the world's cleanest house.
Yeah, and if you're not writing for an audience, it's kind of immaterial what you're writing about. You would just write about what you enjoy or what's fun to you.
But if you are writing for an audience and you do want to publish a book, and I would say don't write about yourself.
No. Yeah, generally no. And then, or at a bare minimum, write about the aspects of yourself that apply universally to people that have experience like yours.
Or if you have a completely unique experience, say you are the only person certified to fix a certain kind of machine.
Right.
You could write anecdotes about yourself to illuminate that experience.
The books by people that are telling their story of being kidnapped by aliens are making a comeback, so that could be another fairly unique experience. Presumably, who am I to say unique? Maybe that's the most common experience these days. Maybe that's why there's so many books coming out.
Yeah, and I don't know, does anyone want to read about somebody else being captured by aliens, or do they all just want to read about themselves being
I don't know, those books are pretty popular.
All right, let's focus.
But people aren't boy, if I could read about what it's like to own a dentistry business. But they would be I want to read the most ridiculous stories nobody could predict that happen when you own a dentistry business.
Or they might want to read how they can how they can have a better experience at the dentist. Yeah. How they can get around their dental phobia, or how they can make better decisions about their dental health.
Right.
Or how they can pay less for dentistry. Those are all deeply held concerns that people have that, yeah.
Yeah, so nobody, really wants much in the way of a person's backstory, but it's the minute you're into the part that applies to your reader, their senses go right up,
And you can totally do the thing where you, like, offer a personal anecdote to, like, illuminate questions, and it does make your book feel more friendly and chatty, but that should be, like, such a small part of the book.
Yeah.
Like, 1 paragraph per chapter, maximum.
And for a lot of it, it's, you know, you really want to think about the intersection between that and what you are passionate about. Because if you are not passionate about telling those stories, you're going to have the cleanest house in the world.
That's true, yeah. You want to really be sure that you can, like, envision somebody reading the book and just get really excited about that.
And that also you can put in the weeks and weeks of sitting down writing at the cost of other things in your life and, you know, at least opportunity cost, you know.
Should people only write what they know?
Well, I'm split on this. I mean, I do feel like, as somebody who often writes a subject by researching it to the nines, do I then know that thing that I'm writing? Or do I, did I not know it when I set about to do it?
I mean,
that's
if
an
you
actual question.
I think you know why you want to, like, right now you're writing a zine about eugenics, and I think you know why you want to write about that, but I don't know how much you knew going into it. I know you've been doing a lot of research.
I knew quite a bit going into it, but I wanted to write it because, like, people are pretty misguided and, like, short information about the subject, you know. So I wanted to, it's the same reason I wrote about, like, boycotts, and it's the same reason I wrote about, like, other stuff, is just, like, culture kind of fell away from a lot of these topics and, like, got disconnected from history and, like, just fell into this idea that this, away from why these things were relevant to the present and to culture and to the future,
Your motivation for writing does seem to be, like, a lot of it, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it seems to come from wanting to, like, correct misconceptions and to, like, fix broken things, cultural things that are broken.
Yeah. And, and that motivates me. So it's like, there used to be a place and a time where people would congregate and you would have, like, chance encounters with strangers where you could talk about subjects. And at these chance encounters, I would often hear misconceptions applied, or people, like, vastly simplifying a complicated subject that, they, like, felt like they understood but didn't really fully grasp. And those, and I don't mean to begrudge or single out those people, because it's, like, not their fault. Like, those are cultural elements that, sort of affect all people. But, when I have those moments and it's the same subject over and over and over, that's what motivates me, to really understand, like, like, how change happens is sort of the biggest, probably, recurring theme in my work.
That's so interesting. My motivation is, like, I guess a little bit the same. Like, I want to, give people the best information possible, but, like, what really, like, keeps me sitting down in my chair to work on a project, especially when it's, like, a long, difficult project, is being, like, these are tools that people can use. Yeah. Like, this book will help people be happier and live a better life.
And that's sort of the
achieve
same
their goals
thing, It's like,
though I'm a little bit less thinking, like, they're wrong and now they'll have the information they need. It's more like they don't see what they need and now they can see it.
Yeah, they don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Which I would argue it's the same thing.
Wow.
Or, and I think, like, maybe, especially in, like, U.S. culture, the prevalence is really to be like, oh, things are this way and there's nothing I can do about that. So I think, like, we're both on the tip of being like, in fact, here are some things you can do about that.
Right. And to me, it's like, this is what I feel like I can do about that also.
Right.
And that feels...
So I'm not... Like, my point isn't that people are wrong and I want to correct them. My point is that, there are actionable historical things that are still applicable, and it's not less so than it ever was just because it happened a long time ago, And in a lot of cases, it's like, looking at how society has changed, like, we're no longer an agricultural country, for one thing. But, like, a lot of this stuff still applies as now that we live in cities, But
I would say, figure out your motivation and then you'll kind of know what to do.
Wow, you really redirected this conversation. Good work.
That's all I do every day.
Thanks for joining us once again. Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
On Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.